Hey hairdressers, I'm Sid Charisse.
And I'm David Bosher, and we are Destroy the Hairdresser. At Destroy the Hairdresser, we are head over heels for Aura salonware. Why? Because Aura is the only salonware that flawlessly supports every one of the Destroy the Hairdresser game-changing methods. From station sharing and cashless payments to offering true scheduling freedom and more, Aura's got it all. Wrapped in a beautiful, easy-to-use package, it's perfect for everyone, whether you're an independent stylist or managing multiple salon locations. Plus, Aura's robust features help streamline your operations and boost your bottom line. Ready to elevate your salon? Visit aurasalonwear.com/DTH for exclusive discounts and start your journey today. Give your clients great hair with fewer products and make more money with less inventory. Introducing Hair Story, a mindful and innovative brand. Hair Story's game-changing product, New Wash, cleans and conditions without harsh foams or detergents, restoring your scalp's natural balance. Made with gentle, biodegradable ingredients and recyclable packaging, it's good for your hair and the planet. With Hair Story Pro, earn a 25% commission on client purchases either in person or online. Plus, enjoy free education, wholesale pricing, and special client discounts. Try New Wash for free and get pro access today at hairstory.com/DTH. Hey everyone, welcome back to Destroy the Hairdresser, the podcast. Again, I am not with my trusty sidekick, Sid Charisse, today. That means I get to interview one of our students. But before I do that, I want to remind you of our hairdresser hotline, 201-564-5007. Text us. Call us, leave us a voicemail. It's anonymous. We're not going to respond, but we want to use your stories and answer your questions live on air. But today, I'm really excited. I get to interview the owner of House of Chroma, Mason Gold. How are you, Mason?
Hello. Good.
I am doing great. I want to, when I do these interviews, the stories that I'm getting from people are kind of crazy, like the successes and just kind of their anecdotes of where they came from. Tell us a little bit about how you found Destroy the Hairdresser.
Okay, so it's kind of a crazy story. Back in 2020, I opened a salon suite, and at the time, I was just doing your typical like a la carte menu, just kind of mimicking what I've always seen people do. And then last year we got an opportunity to expand our business to a physical, like brick and mortar location. And when that came up, I was equally excited as I was a little overwhelmed with like how to approach hiring and how to do that. And so I've been fortunate enough to have a few hairdresser friends who work on the coast, and they, try newer things. We're in the Midwest, so it usually takes a few years before things reach us.
Where in the Midwest are you?
We are in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri. Yeah,
Springfield, Missouri. Great.
Yep. And so I have a friend who kind of got interested in the hourly pricing structure, and I messaged her and I was like, how does this work? Because for me, I entered the hair industry about 9 years ago, and I've always viewed myself as an artist, not a service provider. And so, but naturally in this industry, there's a lot of like providing service, and it takes the wind out of your sails as an artist. Yep. And so for me, I was like, I need to find something that allows me to be in the driver's seat rather than just doing what other people are requesting of me. And so she sent me to your guys' podcast, and I just remember the day that I found your guys' podcast. It was like last October. And so me and my wife both own our salon, and she's a hairdresser too. And so we were listening to your podcast together. We were getting ready to go to some place, and I remember listening to your guys' hourly and talking about how everyone should at least charge $100. And I was like, I love these guys. And so we're just listening to this podcast, and to be totally honest, and this is people who know me know that I'm very creative in all art forms. And one of my first loves is piano. I'm a classical pianist, and I'll never forget the first day that I discovered that a piano wasn't just a piece of furniture that had a chair. I opened it up and realized all the possibilities when seeing the notes that you could play. And it was,
Right.
I remember that moment, it was like the lights came down on me and I was like, oh, the possibilities. And so I had this similar reaction whenever I heard your guys' podcast for the first time, because it was something that resonated with what I've always been looking for. And it allowed me to have ultimate freedom and creativity. And so to me, it felt like the missing piece that I've been looking for so long.
Wow. So it was hourly pricing that kind of grabbed your attention. How long have you, well, before I ask you that, what was your discovery call like? And what made you finally make the call?
Okay, so I'm a very all-in person. So
Me
I
too.
love,
I'm the
yeah,
same.
yeah. So I naturally resonate with people who are also, they conduct themselves in an all-in type of way. I love that. And so I love those clear boundaries. But my call was with Janessa, and I will never forget it because, I mean, the second that she answered, or the second that I answered, she was already like, okay, are you ready? Do you have your pen and paper ready? And I was just like, yes, 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 yes. I love this. And so the fast pacedness of it, it's what I needed. But I also appreciate that there was consideration made for like where people are at. And I like people who can kind of match an intensity that I was looking for.
Right.
But, yeah.
So your call was with Coach Janessa, who I'm very proud of. She was one of my students for a very long time, and now she's one of our coaches. Janessa has a no nonsense, let's get this show on the road
Yeah.
mentality, which it sounds like you matched with.
Yeah.
And so you did the discovery call. How long have you been in the program?
Yeah, so I've been in the program since October or November of last year.
Wow. And what makes you stay?
What makes me stay is, while it's incredibly hard work and it's a lot of internal work, and really, you know, everything that flows out from you is like everything that your business does is completely based on what's already inside. So business really exposes that. But it pushes me to have intentional goals and to really be mindful of where I'm at as an owner. There have been so many times that I've nearly fallen into like a spiraling, like, oh, this really sucks, this really hurts. Yep. And then to realize that most often when I'm faced with those kind of yuck feelings, it has everything to do with my reactivity. And so there's just a lot of consciousness that I've learned through it.
Were you expecting the consciousness piece?
You know, I don't really know what I was expecting. I was definitely expecting it to, like, if you're able to present a new structure that is so like firm boundaries, naturally the way that it's structured has to be that way too. So when I saw your guys' podcast, I knew that there has to be a lot of systematic structures in place for it to show itself that way. So I didn't really know what to expect, but it's kind of funny because a lot of coaching is kind of similar to counseling in a way.
Right.
You know, it's obviously not the same, but there are similarities. And
of course,
yeah. So I really appreciate that. I like the mindfulness involved.
Amazing. So what was it like before Destroy the Hairdresser? How long had your salon been open brick and mortar?
Yeah, so I was in the salon suite from January 1st of 2020, and then we moved last October, so almost 4 years, and then we switched over.
So Chroma, House of Chroma has been open for 4 years.
Yeah, we had a name change, but yes, it's been open, for that long.
And working with Janessa, you've used a lot of the tools like hourly pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Hiring, I'm sure, has been a unique experience.
Yeah.
What method or what consciousness or what focus from Destroy the Hairdresser has really changed how you run your business?
No tipping.
That's so funny. Everyone keeps mentioning that.
Yeah.
And it's in my head, it's like not that big of a method. Like it's pretty straightforward.
No, it's totally, and I'll tell you why. Because for us, you know, me and my wife are both hairdressers, so we have a very flexible income and flexible schedule. So when you're trying to get lending, good luck.
Right. Oh,
and
yeah.
So,
If you're
Yeah.
not claiming your money and it's
Yeah.
mainly tips, you're not getting lending in any way.
Yeah. So we've been trying to purchase a home since 2020. And I mean, year after year, we've just had such a challenging time. And so I was like, I need something that gives me financial stability where I can look at my schedule and I know down to the penny how much I'm going to make. And I
Yep,
think every artist deserves that.
absolutely, absolutely. So when did you switch to hourly, and what was that like?
Okay, so I switched to hourly. I made it like a clean cut at the beginning of the year. So I spent approximately 2 to 3 months just learning the systems, learning all the things that you guys teach in the consciousness, and then implemented all of it, just kind of ripped the band-aid off at the start of this year.
Wow,
And yeah, it was actually
wow.
received really well. Some people that were not pleased, but of course, I mean, no
I
matter
mean,
what direction you go in life, people won't be pleased. So, it might as well be the
absolutely.
direction you want to go in. So, there are people who are not thrilled about it, but I can say this. When I started doing hourly, the people who understand it and enjoy it, speaking from a clientele perspective, uh, they are like hands down, can't imagine it any other way, similar to how I feel. And now when one of our artists who work in the salon raises their rate, it's not met with as much pushback as it would have been met if we were a la carte trying to raise the price of 70
Yep.
separate items. And how do you do that? And, so I've been able to more than double my hourly in half a year. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Does that mean you've been able to make more money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell us about that. What was it? I want to know I want to know about making more money. The reason, we've never really interviewed students. We don't do a lot of testimonials. Our program's pretty private and quiet. We're always out there, yelling about our methods and antagonizing the industry, but we'd never really taken this leap to interview students to really showcase how this works. Um, and I think there's a lot of assumptions that like DTH salons don't make enough money and hourly pricing doesn't work. And we really wanted to show people that it's not this scary, crazy idea. And I don't know how people make money doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what it was like to go to hourly and how did that change your income? Like, how did you make more? And also, how did it change your relationship with your work?
Oh my gosh. How much time do you have?
We only have 25 minutes
Yeah.
left.
So I'll say this. When moving to hourly, besides being able to just look at your schedule and say, "Hey, I'm booked this many hours, I charge this much per hour," and so you can estimate how much you're going to make. I think because DTH teaches mostly consciousness, like all the systems that you guys have could be wrapped up into one word. And I think that's the word, that it's just teaching personal awareness for how you're operating your business. And so for me to know that I was making a safe risk, I was figuring up, how much am I on average generating already when I'm a la carte?
Right.
Okay. And anything that I do, any effort I give towards my business should allow me to make more money anyway. So once I was able to figure out how much I was just averaging when including tips and all of that, it really gave me a good basis of like, okay, I'm charging this generally. So let's just raise it another 25%. And so when you're able to know how much it costs to operate your business, you can safely be like, if I raise my rate this many more dollars, I can afford to work this few of hours and still not feel any type of like heat from that. And so, yeah, it's wild. And I'm not going to say that it's easy. There are some weeks when I look at my schedule, I'm like, oh my goodness, it feels so blank. But when you realize that people are paying for quality instead of the quantity, and they're getting your full attention. It's not divided among other people because you're not double booking, triple booking. It just changes. Everything about it's totally different. And we're getting to a point, economically speaking, that people just want to make sure if they're making an investment that they're getting the most attention, they're being well taken care of. And that's what DTH allows.
Wow. That was said better than I've ever said it. I think I've said it so much I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah.
But but what about like hiring and kind of explaining this to people that you hire? What's it like in that process when new stylists come in and you're like, listen, we do things very differently? What's that experience like?
So I'm in the season right now with hiring that there's a lot of people that I'm bringing in. I'm allowing them to test the waters and see if it fits them. And then there's a lot of people who have not developed the personal understanding and consciousness that is needed in order for it to make sense to them. And that is okay. They may
Right.
come back later and they can, when they're ready for that. But I think the hiring process, I love that you're able to keep really firm boundaries of like, this is what this looks like. Here's what I desire from you. I want you to operate your business within my business, but I also want it to honor how we choose to, be seen as a team. And so what I will say is hiring someone to work at an hourly rate instead of a la carte requires you to almost sift through the 99% to find the 1% that it really resonates with. And then those are the people who really want to stick with your business because they cannot see it being done any other way.
Right. We've met a lot of people that have started their careers at DTH salons. They go to a la carte salons and they run right back to a DTH salon because they're like, that's how other salons are doing it. Like it's shocking to them, which is really exciting because it means slowly the industry, just will stop accepting some of these older practices. Not that they don't work, they're just not as clear. It's a lot more hustling. It's a lot more salesy. Whereas I think with hourly pricing, you really get to just be an artist and do your thing and call it a day. What has been the biggest thing in coaching that that's kind of changed your life, changed your career? Is it a method? Is it Janessa? Is it something you've heard? What is it that's really changed things for you?
Okay. Understanding my most and my least desired feeling.
That's what's changed everything.
Yes.
Tell the listeners kind of what that process looks like if they, they're not in the program. They're like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. So, so often people are naturally so negatively wired. So when it comes to discovering what it is that you least want to feel, we have such a sense of connection to that. We know that really, really well. And we often live life in a way that's trying to avoid that feeling instead of approaching a feeling that you really, truly desire. And I think what is challenging is really how many months sometimes that it can take for a person to realign themselves and really discover what it is. What am I seeking? What is my most desired feeling? Because it's not good enough just to throw in words like loved or joy. It's like, let's break that apart. And I've found such enjoyment having these conversations with my team as well, because now I know how to coach them whenever they're hitting a challenge, when we do our monthly you and me's. And so understanding my most and my least desired feeling allows me to discard things that aren't going to project me forward, because time is scarce, it's limited. And so I would rather spend time focusing on things that bring me closer to what I most desire. But then simultaneously, when you realize that when you have to face your least desired feeling, how am I going to take this yuck feeling that I really hate so much and turn it into something that is still productive? So that's being aware of what those two words are has dynamically changed my personal life and also my career.
And this is something that, when you work with a coach, you kind of do in the beginning. In the beginning, when you first started coaching, did it click or did it take some time for some of the consciousness to click?
I want to say I thought it clicked. And then with time, and really seriously, I had to write down the words I thought it was and have it on my mirror And my wife did that as well. And we just every day would just sit and talk about it. And it's like, do you still feel like that's applicable to you? Like
Right.
really trying to dig deeply. And I'll tell you this, it has been great, even marital therapy, to be able
Wow.
to know what my words are and what her words are. And then in our personal life, if there's ever a time that conversationally, maybe it hits on one of our least desired feelings and she knows instantly, oh yeah, he's told me that, being misunderstood is the worst feeling that I think I could go through. And so trying to find ways and spending the time to make sure she understands me. And so it's very interesting how it just pours over into every facet of your life.
Wow. 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 That's so, I mean, I like these are tools that have changed my life. I know they've changed Sid's life. And we were like, professionals need this, especially in an industry that's so reactive and all over the place. What is it like working with a coach? You had a career before working with a coach. What has working with a coach been like for people on the outside that are like, what is it like in the detail? What's it like in there? What are you guys doing behind the
Yeah.
scenes?
So you're asking, what is that experience of having a coach directly that I'm working with now versus
Yeah.
what business was? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are times that it is very hard. Like
Yeah.
there are times that I feel very much like, okay, we're chasing down exactly what the root issue here is. There is no kind of let's focus and redirect over here. It's like let's hone in on this. And so I will tell you, this was something that was crazy to me. There have been a couple instances since opening this salon last year that certain issues come up and in your mind you're just making them to be this big deal
Yep.
and you're so just like, oh no, what's going to happen, and then as soon as that situation resolves, you instantly forget every bit of how you're feeling in that moment. That reactivity, you instantly forget. But so what I appreciate about having a coach who has 24/7 messaging whenever it's needed is
Right.
instead of getting answers directly from a coach of, well, if this is the issue, you do this. It's instead of that, you're being questioned, why is this affecting you? What is this bringing up? And so in that moment when you don't really want to be thinking about your feelings because you're just freaking out, it allows you to look back after the situation resolves itself, no matter if it was good situation or not, and be like, oh, that's how I felt. Because let's be honest, when we're freaking out in business, we're not doing a lot of self-assessing. We're trying to find external things to like pin this on and pin that on. And
Yeah.
that's so
Or quick
reactive.
fixes. We want really quick fixes.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the things I see in salons a lot is I always joke, I'm like, salons nowadays are sometimes just being held together by like glue and bubble gum and tape because they're just a lot of this happened, so we did this,
Mhm.
and then that caused a problem, so we did this. And I think with Destroy the Hairdresser and learning our tools and learning the consciousness, you're not solving things quickly. You're really having to pause, take time, and create real solutions that don't dead end you in other areas of the business. How many chairs do you have in your salon?
So we have 8 chairs.
And what's the hiring like there? How many employees do you have?
So right now we have a team of 7. Most are
Great.
pretty new hires. And we've kind of been in that expansion, refinement
Yep.
stage with the hiring. And again, just trying to find really who it resonates with. And I have found a lot of people, most often the people who are either salon suite owners or have worked in a commission salon for the longest time. Those are usually the ones who get it more because they understand truly what freedom we're offering.
Right. Would you say that the freedoms feel like rental and people recognize?
I often say this is the closest to self-employment you're going to get without the headache of managing all the relationships with the, the
Right.
distributors for color and all the tax headache. Like this is the closest you're ever going to get to self-employment.
Yeah. What's been the hardest thing about coaching? Or the hardest method or the hardest lesson?
I think the biggest challenge is when you choose to take on a new type of system, which I would put DTH in that category. You are choosing to not only stretch yourself as a person, but you are now introducing something new to an entirely like new population. And so the biggest challenge is you really have to decide, you willing to face what it takes to bring the change needed in our industry. For me, but I also realize that that's not for everyone. So you have to be able to show up for yourself online. You have to be able to put the work in. And so I think the thing that is the most challenging is also the thing that I'm willing to accept the most.
You like the challenge.
Yes.
Does that mean you're a fight reactive system?
I am. How'd you know?
I can tell.
Yeah.
Learned about reactivity, which is one of the first things you learn. That help you understand about yourself as a business owner.
The biggest takeaway, because I'm a fight response, my biggest takeaway is people who are fight response will oftentimes run after the easier fights because it still feels like you're getting that chance to fight for something instead of addressing what's really the glaring issue. And so there have been times through setting up my salon that I catch myself like, oh, that's the low hanging fruit. That was the easy thing. And it's like, no, there's something here that I'm avoiding whenever I think I need to upgrade my chairs or I need to like change, you know what I mean? Or like finding literally anything else. So that has been the most shocking to me. So when I find myself doing busy work that I'm fighting like the easier things, I am now consciously like, what am I avoiding right now?
Right. I love that. And that's hard to do. It's kind of exhausting to keep doing that over and over in business. I have two more questions. One, when it comes to the salon making money, what have you seen change with these systems? I know that you're making more money behind the chair, but as a business, how do you see money growing and being distributed as a DTH salon as opposed to maybe just kind of a la carte, different commissions everywhere? What have you seen and noticed the biggest difference to be?
Yeah, so first and foremost, taxes are not nearly as much of a headache for employees because everything is so streamlined. That is just incredible. But also I'm seeing my team confidently feel like they can raise their rate. And so they're able to take that ownership of their own income, which not only helps the salon, but it also helps them in their personal life. And anytime they want to make more, it's like, then raise your rate. Like, you know, and allowing them to have the choice of when they want to do that and what that looks like, but then also being able to encourage them. Like, I'm not going to force you to do this, but like, I want you to understand the goal isn't to be busy. The goal is to make money. And so if you're finding yourself busy, okay, what are we doing here? Let's talk.
What has your team responded with? The ones that are getting it, how are they experiencing the changes? And also, how are the clients experiencing the changes?
Yeah, so I have been told by stylists who I have been interested in working on our team. I've been told before, like, oh, there's just no way someone's going to pay, you know, whatever rate. And the ones who have taken the leap and have joined our team have realized, like, so quickly, like, I actually desire to charge more because I realize, like, if I'm able to be fully booked at this rate, then I can confidently move up to this. And we go back to that conversation of like, if I raise my rate this percentage, I can lose that same percentage of clientele and still make the same money. You know, so it's not about, it's not about being busy. It's just about making good money.
And what about the clients? How are they feeling about the hourly pricing and those kind of things?
So I recently did a price increase. I am $175.
Congrats.
And thank you. And so, you know, I know that this type of hourly structure does not oftentimes cater to a male clientele, like ones who come in every 3 weeks or so. But I've been very surprised that I still have high schooler guys coming in for fades. I
Yeah.
still have, men's haircuts booking, and they're cool with it every 3,
Right.
4 weeks. And so I think the main thing, people need to get out of their own head thinking that they know what someone can afford.
Yep.
And I think the most helpful piece of advice, one of many helpful pieces of advice that Janessa has given me, is that when you charge this way, your clientele is not limited to the people in your city. They will come from cities over. And
Right.
it's true because, like I said, I'm from Missouri. I have clientele from Arkansas, Texas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Hawaii, and like
Wow.
they fly into me. And so, I mean, I wouldn't even say that's a majority of my clientele, because it's not. It's mostly local people, but it is very
Right.
true. You need to think big whenever you're doing hourly.
Yeah, I think it scares people to death, the hourly idea, because it requires you to really say, am I an artist? Am I someone who's going to actually charge for my time? And is that valuable to me and to others? And once you get over that, it's like you're on the grass is greener
Yeah.
on that other side. It really is greener.
Yeah.
We're not just saying that, like, it really is greener over there. And my last question to you, what would you tell someone who is kind of like, I've heard about Destroy the Hairdresser. I'm not really sure. I think I want to make these changes. I don't, what would you tell someone who's kind of in their head about working with a company like DTH?
I would say it doesn't hurt to have a discovery call and to talk and just see if it's your thing. It is truly and entirely like it's an all-in type of situation. And so if you are willing to face so much of your internal reactivity, and if you're willing to work on yourself, which benefits everybody in your life, then I would say it's a good fit. But if you're someone who is not willing to do the work necessary and you would rather have someone make all these conscious decisions for you so you can just show up, it's not for you. So
Right.
I would say it does not hurt to talk to one of the coaches and just see what you feel. And it doesn't hurt to also listen to some of the classes and just see if that resonates with you. And it's helped me a lot, even on my weekends. I value my weekends even more because I know how much I can generate per hour. And so when I have responsibilities around my home, or if I have like car maintenance, I can view it like, okay, I could fix this part of my car and it'll take me probably 4 hours.
Right.
But also, I could just work behind the chair for 4 hours and pay for it, by doing that, and then enjoy my weekend with my family. So I now have a monetary value for my weekend, and I value it much more.
That's amazing. So your hourly pricing is just giving you an idea of value of life, not just service that everyone kind of gets caught up in. So I love that. Mason, I can't wait to hear where you are in a year. I also can't wait. Hopefully we can have your wife join you or have her on the podcast at some time and hear her version of all of this as well.
Yeah,
but
I would love that.
I just want to thank you. I'm so impressed by what you've done. Janessa has talked so highly of you. Me and Sid are always watching and kind of seeing what's going on. So I'm excited to see what happens with House of Chroma. Obviously, one of our methods in hiring is to always be hiring. So how can someone who's like, I want to look up Mason, I want to hear more about House of Chroma, how can they find you and where can they go?
Yeah, so to find the most hairdresser focused content, anyone can follow me on Mason X Gold on Instagram, and I'm always uploading things on there, just kind of talking about the different systems that we do in the salon.
Great. So if anybody is interested and wants to see more about House of Chroma, what they're doing, and meet Mason, DM Mason, follow him, give him a shout out. But thank you so much for joining us. This has been amazing.
Thank you, Dave.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Let's face it, selling the same retail that every other salon is selling is not working anymore. It's time to take control of your retail sales and profits with Genesis Private Label. Genesis offers premium plant-powered formulations that are cruelty-free and clinically tested. Start your own line for just $1,000 and take your salon's brand and profits to the next level. As a DTH podcast listener, you get an exclusive deal on your sample kit. Usually $149, now just $34.97. Visit genesisprivatelabel.com/DTH and order your sample kit today. Hey hairdressers, are you looking for health insurance? It's time to get healthy with Hairdresser Healthcare, the only coverage designed specifically for the beauty industry. Whether you're an independent stylist, a salon owner with a team, a makeup artist, or a massage therapist, we've got you covered with comprehensive and affordable benefits. With options for self-enrollment and year-round open enrollment, taking control of your health has never been easier. And the best part is, it's available in every state. Visit hairdresserhealthcare.com and take control of your health today because you, your team, and your family deserve it.